Hi, Scorpio. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, your sacred space to reconnect with the universe, your higher self, and the power that has always been within you. Let me ask you something that may sound simple, but don't answer too quickly. What if today isn't just another day? What if this moment, right here, right now, is the exact point in time the universe has been guiding you toward all along? You didn't land on this video by accident. In a world of infinite scrolling, chaotic distractions, and digital noise, your soul managed to hear a whisper. A quiet, undeniable pull, and it brought you here. This video is a deeply intuitive and transformative reading for Scorpio, for those of you who carry the intensity of the cosmos in your eyes and the power of rebirth in your bones. If you're listening, it's because something within you is ready to awaken. Today, dear Scorpio, is no ordinary alignment. The gates of destiny are creaking open just enough for you to peek inside. Money is flowing. Opportunities are calling. And your inner power is rising like a phoenix from the ashes. Can you feel it? That shift in the air? That subtle weight in your chest that says, something big is coming, but this time, it's not something to fear. It's something to claim. This reading isn't just about prediction, it's about power. Your power. The power to align with the energy around you, and to act not from fear, but from wisdom. And that's exactly what we're here to explore together. But before we dive into your cosmic message, let me take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for your presence here. Every like, every comment, every share, and every subscription brings you deeper into our Eternal Mindfulness family. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Your presence, your energy, and your support fuel this space and allow me to bring forward messages of insight and transformation like this one. And trust me when I say this. You'll want to stay with me all the way to the end of this reading, because what the universe is about to reveal to you, Scorpio, is nothing short of spectacular. So tell me, my loyal and fierce Scorpios, what was it in your soul that pulled you here today? Was it a whisper of curiosity? A longing for clarity? Or that deep, knowing sense that your time is finally arriving? Whatever it was, honor it. Drop a comment below and let the universe know. I am ready for my breakthrough. Because the moment you claim it, you set everything into motion. Let's begin. It begins not with noise, but with a stillness so vast it echoes through every corner of your awareness. That quiet you feel isn't emptiness, it's the space just before transformation, the breath the universe takes before delivering something extraordinary. And for you, Scorpio, this isn't a metaphor. This is the exact texture of your current moment, heavy with potential, rich with quiet shifts, laced with the undeniable feeling that something within you has started to stir. Your ruling planet, Pluto, is not known for subtlety. It governs the forces of deep change, hidden truths, endings that lead to beginnings. Today, its energy is not gently knocking, it's pulling the curtain back on what you've been avoiding, resisting, or perhaps not yet ready to face. But now you are. You're ready to meet yourself, stripped of all the stories, patterns, and fears that have quietly shaped your path. You're ready to become something new, not because you want to escape the past, but because you finally understand it's time to release it. Pluto doesn't destroy for the sake of destruction. It clears space. It carves out the room for something truer to grow. Like a forest fire that returns nutrients to the soil, its purpose is sacred. And so is this moment in your journey. If you've been sensing a pull to let go of a toxic relationship, an outdated belief, a worn-out version of who you thought you had to be, this is your invitation. Not with force, not with urgency, but with the grace of someone who realizes they no longer need to carry what was never theirs to begin with. There's a kind of wisdom in release that can't be taught, only experienced. It's the knowing that clinging creates suffering, that even beautiful things must sometimes be laid to rest so something more aligned can take shape. In many teachings, it is said that the root of suffering lies in attachment, not because desire is wrong, but because we often forget that everything in life is meant to flow. The moment we try to freeze time, hold on too tightly, or resist the natural cycle of change, we begin to lose touch with peace. And Scorpio, you, more than anyone, know the value of peace born from deep acceptance. That's why today's message isn't just about change. It's about courage. The kind that rises up quietly when you choose to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. The courage to say, this chapter is closing, and I trust the next one to open in its own time. The courage to surrender, not as an act of weakness, but as an act of extraordinary strength. In the tarot, cards like Death, the Tower, and Judgment mirror this energy. They are not omens of doom. They are mirrors showing you what must end so you can finally return to what is real. Death asks you to honor the natural cycle of life, the Tower shatters illusions built on shaky ground, and Judgment invites you to rise, not despite your past, but because you've truly owned it. And now, you are being asked to respond. This is not a passive moment. The energy of Pluto asks for participation, your full, conscious, intentional presence. So write down what no longer serves you. Say it aloud. Burn it if you must. Not to erase it, but to sanctify the space it once occupied. Give yourself permission to begin again, not someday, but now. Because somewhere within this moment of quiet, Scorpio, lies your breakthrough. Not in what you hold on to, but in what you dare to let go. It's fascinating how, after acknowledging what must be released, life seems to offer us an entirely different lens through which to see what remains. That lens is clarity, and with it comes the realization that even the most tangled aspects of our financial lives can become paths of wisdom if we know how to meet them with presence. For Scorpio, who is never content with surface-level answers, money has never been just about survival. It's been about sovereignty, trust, and what you're truly willing to value. This moment in your chart invites you to revisit the meaning of financial power, not as control, but as conscious stewardship. The kind of power that doesn't panic when numbers dip or when outcomes shift, but instead asks, what is this teaching me? The planetary alignments are suggesting that you're entering a phase where your relationship with money can no longer be passive or reactive. It's asking to be restructured, realigned, perhaps even rebuilt on a foundation that feels more rooted in self-respect than in fear. You may find that the greatest opportunities coming your way are not shiny new ventures, but forgotten ideas, delayed decisions, or underused talents that have been quietly waiting for you to look again. What you once walked away from may now carry new value, not because it changed, but because you have. The Scorpio journey isn't about chasing wealth. It's about learning how to transform lack into leverage, and how to turn the chaos of uncertainty into the calm of creative resourcefulness. The image of the Eight of Pentacles reminds us of the quiet discipline involved in mastering your craft. It doesn't speak of overnight success or quick wins. It's about daily devotion, incremental decisions, the kind of financial growth that reflects not just numbers increasing, but confidence solidifying. Then there's the Queen of Swords, clear, precise, emotionally aware but never ruled by emotion. She asks you to separate financial facts from financial fears, and to stop internalizing struggle as a sign of your worth. So much of what holds us back from abundance isn't external, it's internal narratives we've rehearsed for years. Stories like, "I'm not good with money," or "I'll never earn enough doing what I love." These are not truths, they are inherited beliefs, and like any outdated code, they can be rewritten. Not by force, but by gentle re-examination. If you were to pause and write down just 3 limiting beliefs you carry about money, you might be surprised how many of them aren't really yours to begin with. And once they're visible, you can begin the work of reshaping them into affirmations that restore your power instead of draining it. There's a quiet teaching often repeated in wisdom traditions, that grasping leads to suffering, but wise effort leads to liberation. In financial terms, this means that when you hold on too tightly, gripping every cent, fearing every expense, you may accidentally close yourself off from flow. Flow isn't recklessness, it's trust. It's knowing when to save, when to invest, and when to let go. It's knowing that your value does not live in your bank account, but in your ability to stay awake and aligned in the way you relate to money itself. Let today be the day you begin that realignment, not by making drastic changes, but by honoring one small action that reflects the version of you who knows they're worthy of wealth. Whether it's organizing your finances, pricing your work with more confidence, or simply saying yes to an opportunity that scares and excites you, let it be a gesture of trust. Because the truth is, money isn't the goal. Empowered choice is. And when you meet life from that place, abundance follows, not because you forced it, but because you became the kind of person it naturally flows to. Sometimes, after doing the inner work around survival, around money, worth, and control, the next space we're invited to explore is the heart. Not the performative heart, not the curated one we show to the world, but the quiet, tender space where our true feelings live. For Scorpio, this realm can be just as intense as transformation itself. Love, for you, has never been light or casual, it's a sacred exchange, a merging of souls, a deep energetic bond that goes beyond surface-level affection. But it's also the space where you've learned to build the highest walls. And yet, something about the energies moving through you now is asking for those walls to soften, not collapse, but shift. You're not being asked to expose everything or become vulnerable without discernment. You're being asked to check in with the truth you've been carrying quietly, the one that never had the chance to speak because fear said, "Not yet." This is the moment where you get to ask yourself, with radical honesty, have I been holding back love in order to feel safe? And if so, is that safety still serving me, or is it silently starving me of the depth I crave? The Moon card, a symbol often misunderstood, doesn't represent deception in the way people think. It reveals the fog, the illusions, the subtle ways we trick ourselves out of connection, out of being seen, or out of seeing others clearly. Right now, you're being called to walk through that fog. Not to confront others, but to gently uncover the places where you haven't been fully honest with yourself. Maybe you've been pretending you're fine when you're aching for more. Maybe you've convinced yourself that detachment equals power, when in reality, it's just been a buffer from the vulnerability of intimacy. Scorpio's depth is a gift, but it becomes heavy when you carry the emotional weight alone. Relationships thrive not just on emotional intensity, but on shared truths. That's where the High Priestess speaks, asking you to listen closely to your inner knowing, to recognize what your silence has been protecting. There is wisdom in keeping parts of yourself sacred. But there is also liberation in finally sharing a truth that's ready to be heard. The Two of Cups offers a mirror. It reflects the potential for a meeting of hearts when both people come to the connection with honesty and clarity. This isn't about perfect timing or finding the ideal partner. It's about practicing emotional integrity. Real love does not ask you to disappear. It asks you to arrive. Fully, truthfully, and without performance. It asks that you stay rooted in yourself, even as you open your arms to another. And yes, there is risk in that. But the alternative, staying behind the armor, is its own kind of ache. There's a gentle teaching that says, when you speak a truth you've hidden, you set yourself free from it. Not because it was wrong to keep it, but because it has simply outlived its purpose. Love is not supposed to be a performance of strength. It is the place where you let yourself be real, and where, if you are lucky, someone meets you there not with judgment, but with presence. That kind of presence doesn't always come from others first. It begins with you. With your willingness to admit what you feel, what you need, and what kind of love you're truly ready to receive. So ask yourself today, what have I not said that deserves to be spoken, not to provoke, but to free? And if the answer feels uncomfortable, let that discomfort be your guide. Let it show you where more truth wants to live. Because truth, even when it's messy, will always lead you closer to a love that honors all of who you are. After diving into the emotional truths of the heart, the next natural step is to listen to the body, the quiet vessel that has been holding space for everything you haven't yet processed. Scorpio energy runs deep, and when that intensity isn't given room to move, it turns inward. It settles into the muscles, the breath, the nervous system. Stress begins to disguise itself as resilience. Sleepless nights become normalized. And fatigue wears the mask of discipline. But beneath it all, the body is whispering what the mind refuses to say: I'm tired. I need release. Today's energy brings a clear signal that it's time to pause, not because you're weak, but because you've been strong for too long without rest. You may notice your body asking for something different, whether it's stillness, solitude, movement, or simply the space to feel. When emotions remain unspoken, they find a home in the body. And if you've been carrying grief, anger, or anxiety quietly, this is a gentle invitation to begin letting it move through you, slowly, respectfully, without judgment. The Hermit and the Four of Swords reflect this internal landscape perfectly. These cards don't demand action, they request awareness. They ask you to step away from the noise, not to escape the world, but to return to yourself. The Hermit reminds you that clarity often comes in silence. The Four of Swords invites you to lay your weapons down, not because the fight is over, but because constant tension doesn't serve you anymore. It's not about giving up. It's about allowing space for healing to take root. In numerology, today's number holds the vibration of 9, the number of completion. It speaks of cycles closing and making peace with what has already been. There is a quiet wisdom in letting go, in honoring the journey that brought you here, and in recognizing that endings aren't failures, they are foundations for renewal. And the body, more than anything else, understands this. It knows how to heal, how to rebuild. But first, it needs your cooperation. Your stillness. Your attention. Healing isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's as simple as breathing a little deeper, drinking water slowly, sitting in silence for 5 uninterrupted minutes, lighting a candle not for ritual, but for remembrance, a gentle cue to the soul that it is safe to soften. When you allow these small practices to become part of your day, you begin telling your body a new story. One where safety isn't based on vigilance, but on presence. One where control is replaced by curiosity. What is this tension trying to teach me? Where is this pain guiding me toward more freedom? There's a quiet teaching that says the body is the first to know and the last to forget. Which means that even when your mind says, "I'm fine," your body may be holding on to something much older. To truly restore yourself, it's important to listen, not just for symptoms, but for wisdom. Each ache, each tightness, each restless night might be a signal that something deeper wants your attention. So instead of pushing through, what if you leaned in? What if tonight you chose stillness instead of stimulation? What if you turned off the noise, lit a single candle, and asked yourself, what is waiting to be healed within me? No need to answer right away. Sometimes the most powerful healing begins in the quiet moment where you simply make space for the question to breathe. Healing is not a destination. It's a relationship with yourself, your rhythms, your truth. And today, Scorpio, is a sacred opportunity to honor that relationship with the care and presence it deserves. Once you've allowed the body to breathe, the heart to speak, and the mind to rest, there comes a natural emergence, an awakening of your deeper potential. It's a quiet but steady push, as if something inside you is ready to rise from stillness into creation. Scorpio, this is your invitation not just to feel, not just to release, but to build. You've always carried a powerful current within you, often hidden, often simmering beneath the surface. But today's energy doesn't ask you to stay in the shadows. It asks you to step into view, to create not just in silence but in presence. There's a difference between hiding and waiting. You haven't been hiding. You've been preparing. And now, the time is ripe to translate everything you've learned, everything you've healed, into something tangible. Whether it's a creative project, a new venture, a conversation you've avoided, or an idea that keeps circling in your mind, this is the moment where you begin. Not because everything is perfect. Not because you feel completely ready. But because the willingness to start is more powerful than the illusion of perfection. The energy of the Emperor in Tarot speaks to structure, confidence, and leadership, not the kind that dominates, but the kind that holds space for others to rise. And the Magician reminds you that you already have the tools. What you lack isn't ability, it's often permission. Permission to act while still uncertain. Permission to be visible even while evolving. The Magician knows that manifestation begins not in having everything figured out, but in trusting the impulse to begin and allowing the process to teach you. In the rhythm of nature, nothing blooms all year round. But when it's time, when the roots have deepened enough and the soil is nourished, a seed pushes through, slowly, unapologetically. That's where you are now. And your seed is an idea, a voice, a gift you've been carrying. The longer you wait, the heavier it feels, not because you're behind, but because it was never meant to be kept only for you. Expression is part of healing. Creation is part of balance. Leadership isn't about controlling others, it's about leading yourself out of fear and into aligned action. There's a simple but powerful teaching that says we do not need to be perfect to begin. We become more whole through beginning. The path reveals itself only when we take the first step, not when we have the entire map. And even though you may be used to going deep alone, this phase of your journey is asking for something else: engagement. Your presence in the world matters. Your creativity holds weight. And your willingness to lead, whether through art, teaching, storytelling, or quiet example, has a ripple effect far beyond what you can immediately see. Now would be a beautiful time to return to the dream you've shelved. The outline you never finished. The skill you've been afraid to claim. Even writing it down brings it one step closer to reality. So ask yourself gently, what have I been delaying that actually wants to come alive through me? And what if, instead of waiting for the perfect time, you trusted that today is enough? Take that first small step. Reach out. Make the call. Sketch the idea. Open the document. Speak the truth. Your potential doesn't need approval, it needs movement. And the moment you begin, the universe responds. Not because it's rewarding you, but because it always mirrors your clarity. So give it something to respond to. Be the signal. Be the spark. And then watch the road unfold beneath your feet. And now, Scorpio, as we come to the closing moments of this journey together, I invite you to pause, not just to reflect, but to feel everything this message has stirred within you. You didn't arrive here by chance. You showed up with a part of you already knowing that change was not only possible, it was inevitable. Every insight you've heard today, every layer we've peeled back together, has been building toward one quiet but powerful truth: you don't need luck to find you, because you are the force that calls destiny forward. You've seen the depths. You've felt the silence. You've walked through moments that tried to bury your light. But look at you now, still here, still choosing to listen, to feel, to grow. That is not weakness, Scorpio. That is your truest strength. The world may not always see what you carry beneath your calm surface, but you do. And that self-awareness? That willingness to show up even when it hurts? That's the essence of transformation. You are not waiting for a new beginning, you are the new beginning. So the question now is not, can I do this? The real question is, what version of myself am I ready to meet on the other side of this commitment? You don't need to become someone else. You don't need to be fixed. You simply need to allow the version of you who is already ready to step into the light. The one who creates without apology, leads from quiet certainty, loves without fear, and rests without guilt. That version already lives within you. It always has. I know it's easier to stay in the cycle of preparation, waiting until it's clearer, safer, more perfect. But what if clarity comes after the leap? What if safety is built through movement? And what if the only thing you need right now is to trust the next small step? What project have you been holding in the shadows? What truth have you been whispering only in your own mind? What part of you is ready to be seen, if only you'd offer it a little more space, a little more breath, a little more trust? You don't need to change your entire life overnight. But you can change your direction in a single decision. Maybe that means journaling the one belief that's been holding you back. Maybe it means turning your phone off tonight and sitting in silence, just long enough to hear your intuition speak. Or maybe it means commenting below to say, "I'm ready. I choose to show up for myself." Because when you speak it, when you claim it, you align with something greater than fear. You align with your own rhythm, your own path. And if this message touched you, if it met you exactly where you are today, please know how much it means to have you here. Your presence is not just noticed, it's felt. Every like, every comment, every time you share or subscribe, helps this space grow. But more than that, it's a signal. A declaration that you believe in the power of conscious living. That you believe in your own evolution. And truly, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for showing up. Before we part ways today, I have a small but powerful request. If something resonated with you, leave a comment below and finish this sentence. Right now, I'm ready to. What are you ready to become? What are you ready to release? What are you ready to receive? Let this space be a mirror, a container, a gentle push forward. You are not your past. You are not your fears. You are a force of nature, mysterious, magnetic, and ever-evolving. So go ahead, Scorpio. Walk with the eyes of a warrior and the heart of a healer. Don't look back. That version of you is no longer here. You are ready now, and the universe is already responding. Until next time, take care of your energy, trust your timing, and remember, you are the author of this chapter. And it's going to be extraordinary.